Hello and good morning everyone, it's Sharyama from TLS from FOW. A lot of my subscribers were talking about making a new updated version of my Firebrand guide that is on YouTube at the moment, and I decided to just make a new Firebrand guide, completely new, hopefully with less stuttering, hopefully with less lack of information for you guys that were missing in the last guide, and I hope that you guys will enjoy the video at the end and give me a thumb up. The points that I will cover are the overview, what's the job of a Firebrand. Then I will go over the skill bar, what skills you can use, what utilities you can use, the weapon variation, the traits and variations. I will go over the equipment that you can use and the variations that are possible for you and what you can maybe do and how do you get it. The consumables, that means in terms of what kind of food and what kind of utility is the best for the Firebrand at the moment. I'm going over the stat and rune and sigil variations, the usage of the build at all, the tomes, the utility skills, the weapon skills in combination, the blasting stealth on Firebrand, and I will completely go over the proper setting for thick health bars, better party view. I will go over the several builds like Dragonhunter that is viable at the moment to play as burn, and also the burn Firebrand as a tank version inside of a squad, and I will go over how to get the Minstrel gear. What I will go first is the overview. What's the job of a Firebrand in World vs. World? So you guys know that there was a major patch that changed a lot of things for World vs. World, but the Firebrand is still the non-plus-ultra as a party support. The main job for a Firebrand at the moment is you can support your party with boons, you can give heals, you can Condi cleanse your people, you can stun break the people, and you will be sure that your party is overall fine. The Firebrand got nerfed in terms of cooldowns of several skills pretty hard, and so you need a second support or even a third support to cover everything inside of a party. But as a main support of party, the Firebrand is still reliable, and that is your job to keep your party alive, that your party can do their job properly. A good damage dealer in World vs. World cannot do anything without a good Firebrand on his side. So let's go over the traits and the variations. So at the moment, for example, for people that are being new to Firebrand, I will go over this. You're running with Honor still. Honor is still the same since after the patch. You're running with Envirant Bulwark. It is just 20 seconds of 2% healing with 5 stacks, means a top of 10% healing with a recharge reduce. That is insane amount of healing for your group. You can also go with the lesser shield absorption and the protective reviver. Well, it is something that you can take, but you're sacrificing a lot of heal. You go for pure heart. Aegis heals when it blocks an attack. It's just insane amount of healing that you can get, and if you look at the other traits, it's not really great in that term. And you still go Force of Will, because Force of Will is giving you, based on the vitality that you have, you're getting percentage of healing. And since you got nerfed a bit in that kind of term, you will need the healing to help yourself and also the people in your party to keep healing. Even when you're not that great in a healer anymore, you're more let's say it's more a shout healer. You go for all the healings at the one time, and then you're basically out of it. That is the first major change now on the Firebrand build. It's on Virtuos. You go instead of 2-2-2, instead of the Retaliatory Substitution, you're going now for the Master of Concession, because you're using a new skill now that gets less recharge in that on that position, and you get more duration on that skill. At that moment, that will help you a lot in keeping up that skill. Absolute resolution is still the same, because you're Condi cleansing. Since all the Condi cleanses got nerfed also and more cooldowns, it's really great that you just, when you're opening F2, already Condi cleansing. And well, the battle presence, nearby allies gain Virtue of Resolve passive, that you're healing passively everyone that is standing around you basically, is still better than the Indominant Courage with the 3 stacks of stability while opening here. It's still very bugged in my opinion, so sometimes it is not even working. On Firebrand itself, for beginners, I would say so that there are some changes now. You run Archivist of Whispers for 3 more sides on your tome. You're running Legendary Lore. Legendary Lore gives you passive bonuses on all your F1, F2 and F3 tomes in terms of burning, regeneration and protection. Means that every skill is adding that, even the skill is not giving it at all. It's the defensive version, and I would recommend it for everyone that is starting with Firebrand. It's way better in that term, because you're giving regeneration and protection with every of your skills. Makes you way more defensive and way more tanky for your party, since protection is very very important in my opinion. For better gameplay and faster gameplay, guild gameplay, when you get more used to Firebrand, you have a second support in the group, or even a triple support in the group. The quickness trait Stalwart Speed is insane. If you go with the quickness for your party, all the skills and actions are faster. That means your Zerg is ridiculous faster on that term. All your skills are going off way quicker. That means your Zerg can cast way quicker than the enemy Zerg on that point if the enemy party is not using that skill. I heard of some people are using weighty terms that every final charge of mantra, since the mantra is way harder to use at the moment since the recharge time is longer, is immobilizing. In my opinion, it's total garbage. You can do it if you want, you can test it out, but in my opinion, it's either stalwart speed or it's legendary lore. And on the last term, you're just going for Lore Master, that your tomes are having 33% less recharge, and the Virtuos passives are on you while they are on cooldown. It's really, really great as Firebrand, and I don't think that there is any other thing that you can compare with it. So there is now a thing that you can do with Firebrand, and that is when you play with Axe. There's a lot of people that play now with Axe on Firebrand for a more offensive version. Then you're sacrificing three pages of your tome for getting the unrelenting criticism. It's giving bleeding and it's giving days on hit. So basically you're seeing the enemies to lock them down even more with Immobilize or any other skill. So with the engage of the Firebrand, you're locking them down with your Axe pulls and also with your field. I will go over the weapon skill of the Axe a bit later then. So there is a variation that you can take. I prepared that already for you. So Firebrand is still the same. Honor is still the same, but some people taking Valor over Honor. Is it possible? You can take the Valor also if you have, for example, already a Firebrand in the party that takes the Virtuos. You can also run the Valor. With Valor, you're going for lesser smite of conditions. You can also go, if you want, you can also go for the under skill for protection if you want. I think that the range of numbers is pretty good, but if you have another Firebrand in the group that also runs Valor, sometimes that is the case sadly, you can run communal defenses. Communal defenses is giving blocking an attack grants Aegis to nearby allies, so every time you block you give Aegis out to everyone else. You have to see what you like at the end. And you go for Tenacious Defense. Aegis you grant reduces the recharge time of Virtue of Courage when it blocks attacks, so your F3 is getting faster up again. But that means for you, you're sacrificing Virtuos, and I would always run Virtuos over Valor in World vs. World when you're running it. The next I will cover is the equipment. So Firebrand has a very expensive equipment. A lot of you know maybe that you need a lot of the stuff from Maguma, especially the freshwater pearls. You need toughness, vitality, healing, and concentration gear. A lot of people say it's wasted stats at the end. For me as a commander, for example, it's very important to be very tanky, so I'm running a full Minstrel set, and I would also recommend it for everyone that is running it in terms of equipment. I would run a full toughness, vitality, healing, and concentration gear. At the end, you end up with 3500 armor, and with a lot of healing and with concentration. It's really cool in that term. I would run it. Some people say giver stats are also on the weapons, for example, giver stats and sacrificing some of the vitality. I would never do it. I have at the moment 21,000 HP, and that's already, well, if I'm getting spiked really hard, it's going down really, really quick. So it's something I would never sacrifice as a commander. And your job is not to be offensive or deal damage or something. Your job is to support and to melee train. Then we go over the consumables really, really quick. In my opinion, a lot of people are using really wrong buff food. Buff food in that term is for me either the delicious rice balls if you don't have ascended buff food. The ascended buff food is really good. A lot of people are dropping it, so you get the healing and concentration. If you don't have that, you go for the delicious rice balls, 100 healing and 10% outgoing healing. And in terms of enchantment, I would always craft the bountiful maintains oil. You need to have you need to have a job for that at the end. You know that you cannot trade it, you cannot buy it. You have to go to the huntsman. You have to have the huntsman on 400, and then you can craft it. It is increasing your healing instead of getting your concentration higher. And since the boons don't need to be longer because you're having full minstrel gear, in that opinion, I would take always this one here, since your healing is more important than the concentration in game. Okay, at the moment I'm using on my Firebrand the Monk Rune. The Monk Rune you get over the Ascalon reward track, as you guys know. That means you cannot buy it. That means you have to either run the dungeon or you have to get the reward track in World vs. World to run the Monk Rune. The Monk Rune is providing a lot of healing and boon duration, plus increasing your heal effectiveness every time you're booning. So for example, let's say I'm booning myself here really quick with Swiftness and Empower. You see that my rune is getting activated, and now I have 10 stacks of my Monk Rune on myself. That means everything is increased on that point. That means with 10 stacks, I get 1% for 3 seconds after granting a boon. That means I'm getting 10% even more healing effectiveness on top of it. What is really cool. I really like it. The Monk Rune is beautiful to play on Firebrand. For people that have no access to that and really want to play support on that term, you can go for the water rune. You can buy it. It's a bit expensive at the moment, around 3.5 gold, but it's at least you can get it in TP. It's healing and boon duration and condition cleanse, so people can run that if they want. So every time you remove a condition from you or a nearby ally using a heal skill, it has a 20 seconds cooldown on it. In my opinion, it's not worth it running it over Monk. Some people say it's stronger. You can also run a Rune of the Mercy. The Rune of the Mercy is something toughness and healing and revive allies 20% faster and 30% more health. My opinion, that rune is something for Firebrand that wanna do GVGs and wanna run at small groups, since the small groups you revive people nearly instantly with that, since MI is not a big thing anymore. You can also run the Rune of the Altruism for boon duration, healing, and every time you use your elite mantra, you are Condi cleansing on additional. My opinion, it's also not as strong as the Monk rune, but you can run it if and want to test out with it. And the old rune, the superior rune of the durability, is still working, but you're sacrificing the complete healing power on your gear for it. So it's something you can test out. That's like variations that I can tell you that are possible for you. If you're testing it out or not is basically your opinion then at the end, since in this game there is not like a current meta that is the strongest or something. A lot of people are testing out and find out new stuff, and then it seems like at the end it is stronger than the normal stuff. So I want everyone to test out, and if you have an idea about a rune or a sigil for Firebrand, just hit me up with it. I'm open for it. Then we are going for the Sigil Variations. The Sigil Variations are, like, I'm at the moment running with Energy and Transference and with Life and Transference. Life and Transference because I played yesterday Open Field with the Life rune, so basically I'm stacking the healing power on my stuff. Normally when I'm running with my guild, I'm running double Transference, double Energy. You can also run the Superior Sigil of Renewal that heals nearby allies on weapon swap. You can do that if you want. You can also run the Superior Sigil of Benevolence. Benevolence is a rune that is interesting for me. A lot of people say that this rune is good. When you can stack it to 25 stacks, it's giving out more healing to allies around you than the normal stacking rune, because the normal stacking rune here is giving you 10 healing on 25 stacks, then you have 25 stacks, so you have 250 healing. At the end, the healing effectiveness of the Benevolence rune is higher because the percentage is higher. The thing is, it says that it is healing power to other allies. So basically it's not healing yourself, it is just healing the other people in your party. Means for yourself, it's not helping you at all, so I would never play it. I would always play, if you're taking a stacking sigil, because you're playing open field, take the life sigil on it, and then it should be fine. And why do I have it on the stuff instead of the off weapon set? Because normally at the end of a fight I'm cleaving with the stuff and not with the main with the mace and shield, because I switch back to stuff at the end of a fight. And the last thing that you can take is the Superior Rune of Concentration. Well, it's 10% more boon duration. I would not take it. It is something that you can take, but you have so much boon duration already through the concentration you have. You have already 60% boon duration. That's more than enough, and it's getting so much corrupted in game. Like, there's so many boons getting insta-corrupted and rebooned. You don't really need any more concentration. It was a strong rune, a strong sigil, sorry, and it can be used, but you don't need to use it. About the weapons, like I said already, you can run an axe instead of a mace or a shield, and you can run a staff. So the staff is main and the shield is main. If you want to run an axe for more offense or you want to run a mace for more defense, is up to you. That is something you can go to as you want to. I would run as a beginner, and if you want to play more defensive and you don't have a second supporting group, I would always run with the mace. The mace is giving you way more defensive options. The axe is really great for offensive things, but then you should look out that you have a scrapper, a warrior, or a tempest supporting you in your party to fill the lack of stuff that you cannot do. Or also revenant is fine with dwarf and everything around it. So about the weapon skills and the utility skills. We're having the stuff. The stuff basically 1-1-1 is something I don't really need to explain it, I guess. Well, it's not really dealing damage at the end, it's just a 1-1-1. It's not really needed on Firebrand anymore. The stuff 2 is really cool. It's Holy Strike. You can put it on yourself or on your squad, and it's healing instantly at a 6-second cooldown after it got casted, 8 seconds at the beginning initial. It's a really cool heal, and it's also a combo blast. That means you can stealth blast with that skill, right? Well, your symbol, basically everyone knows that skill already since the mount were released. It's not really used anymore too much, because basically everyone is getting the mount speed running next to a mount. You're having the empower to keep up the might and also healing. It's very important to know that kind of stuff, also to keep empowering maybe in the heat of a fight. If you have like 1 or 2 seconds, you can also break that by just walking forward again. So you don't need to have the final pulse at the end, but it's giving might and heal at the end. And you have your line of warding. So with the line of warding, enemies either get stripped one step or they are not getting through. So if you just have like 8 lines or something in front of you, the enemy Zerg doesn't want to go through that, right? Then you have your mace. I have the mace at the moment. The mace 1/1/1, every third attack of the mace is healing. Means that every time you hit something, like for example also a wall in World vs. World or a gate, the mace is helping to increase the healing on your Zerg. Something that you should do while you're in combat and you're running out of cooldowns, just keep healing with your mace at the end. The symbol 2, it's symbol of faith. It's a regeneration over 2 seconds. That means basically it is a healing over 1 second for 1500, 1600. And so with a very short cooldown, it's something that you can use as a heal for your party and people running over it. Also as a small amount of damage and as a light field to blast Condi cleansing. Protector Strike is really cool. It's giving protection and Aegis on 5 people, and it's blocking an attack. For example, when a ref spike is coming in or something, you can use that and the ref jump into your Zerg is getting blocked. So it's a very defensive option. Also 12 seconds cooldown, it's not too much. You can use it for that. One of my favorite skills is called Shield of Judgment. Shield of Judgment is giving you a blow forward with damage. It's hitting 5 targets. It's protection and Aegis, and it's a really good engage. Like I'm always using it normally when the enemy Zerg would be here. Let's just make a commander tag really quick. Like when the enemy tag would be here, I can drop my symbol so people in the back already get hit by it, and then I just go forward with my shield 4 and everyone getting regeneration, Aegis and protection by going forward. It's a really good thing to do. Well, and your shield 5 is first a CC, that means you can stop people from stomping or something, and it's also blocking projectiles. So it's really cool to have that kind of thing. You can let it explode to heal your squad. So then we will talk about the mantras and the mantras and your elite skill. Let me charge them really quick. I'm sorry that I didn't charge them before. So as heal skill, you have different options. You can run Shelter. Shelter is a skill, it blocks attacks while healing. As a beginner, it is something that you can do. So it's definitely something you can do as a beginner to run it. But 30 seconds cooldown on a heal skill is something, I don't know if you want that. Earlier people run Receive the Light. In my opinion, it's outdated. You can run it if you want, but don't run the Sigil, please, or don't run Litany of Wrath. What we are running is a Mantra of Solent on that is 2 reasons. First, you have several charges of healing, and every time you also heal, you also give Aegis out. Aegis is blocking an attack. It's so, like you can say, it's an additional block that helps your people to not get damage, and the recovery speed of the charges is not too long. Secondary, every time you give Aegis out, as you see in the trades on Stalwart Speed normally that I'm running, you give Quickness out. So you get Quickness when the stability is out there. So with the stability is out there, so let's use the Elite Mantra really quick. And you have the Aegis, so basically 3 times healing and Aegis is pretty cool on that term. And Stalwart Speed is also really, really nice. Then you have the Hallowed Ground. Hallowed Ground is a skill that I just found out lately is pretty broken. A lot of people knew it already, like for example a lot of UG guilds. I have it from the PT guild, from my server. The Commander Int told me about it. Maybe you want to check him out. The PT guild is reforming at the moment and they're playing really good. If you drop it on yourself, it gets 2 seconds because of the trait more. It's pulsing stability and retaliation for your party for 10 times, and also while pulsing the stability, it's giving quickness because of the Stalwart Speed. So basically you have a 40 seconds cooldown for 10 pulses of stability, retaliation and quickness. What makes an insanely amount for your Zerg when you're clashing with an enemy Zerg to hold that as long as you're interrupting the enemy bubbles. Your people get perma stability through that. Really, really cool. The thing is, a lot of people, when there's high Condi pressure and you don't have a second support, what you can do is that you're taking Purging Flames. Purging Flames also gets 2 extra pulses, that means longer duration. It's still some decent damage, burning damage is strong in this patch, plus you're removing conditions on your people. So you can change between these 2. Both of them have the same consideration, so basically both of them are getting buffed through Virtuos. Depending on your party setup, you can choose between them, but I would say Hallowed Ground is the better setup instead of MI. Everyone knows already MI got nerfed. It's not 20% revive percentage anymore. Sure, it's a utility skill that you can use, but normally a Firebrand has enough utility already and enough stun breaks to get out of that kind of situations. So you don't need it for yourself, and the healing with the Merciful Intervention is totally gone. So please don't do it anymore as a Firebrand. Just go for something else. Would be really good for everyone around you also. Then we have the regeneration mantra. Everyone knows about the regeneration mantra. It's a Condi cleanse mantra, but it's now not Condi cleansing that much anymore. We Condi cleanse now just 2 instead of 3. And we are having the elite mantra. Elite mantra is stun breaking people, and at the last charge of your mantra you are getting 5 stacks of stability. So the thing now is the elite mantra got nerfed pretty hard in terms of the recharge. You have to take care that you really use it wisely and not spamming it, since if you spam it, it's gone really quick and then your complete bar is looking like this. So let's just use the 3 times. So now there is a 40-second cooldown that you cannot use your elite mantra anymore. That's like one of the big changes, that Firebrand is basically going down at the moment and cannot support the party alone anymore, because you can just 3 times stun break in a fight and then it's over for you basically on that term. If you don't have your toms anymore, that is a huge problem for a lot of people. That's why you play, for example, with a Revenant with Dwarf, with a Scrapper for Condi cleanses, or with a Tempest for Condi cleanses in the party to help you providing boon uptime, Condi cleanse and healing in the squad, while you're having problems that you can focus on your Guardian more on giving the boons and keeping the people alive and stun breaking them. About our toms, let's talk about oh sorry, no, we just want to talk really quick about the axe, right? So let's put the axe in. I'm just changing the trade spec really quick. So with the axe now, we have with 111, we have bleeding and we have a lot of damage. So with the axe, you're dealing with the might uptime in your group around 1000, yeah, around 1800 to 1000 damage while cleaving with a full Minstrel gear, while not having damage. So it's really cool on that term to you can just cleave with 111. It's hitting 3 targets in front of you, so you can cleave with while you're bleeding also. So like we already told, the symbol of vengeance, it is giving fury to people. Means you're dropping it down, it's giving fury, it's buffing yourself because of the rune of the monk, and you're getting a daze now on enemies. That means when all the Firebrands are going forward and dropping that on the enemies, you can drop it, then everyone is getting dazed inside of that, and then you can instantly pull them, or immobilize them, or put them in a bubble, or drop your wells on them, or whatever. So at the moment, with the new patch, it means you need to coordinate your damage way harder than before. That means it's more rewarding. The more you get your damage on one point, the better it is for everyone, because the cooldowns are getting higher, the damage is lower, so you need to focus on getting it more synchronized. And so it is really good if you have a lot of CC with you, CC over damage in that term. So let's say the enemy Zerg is directly in front of me, I'm just putting my daze down and I'm pulling on it, and then we're immobilizing it and bombing it here. So in that term, when we have like 5 dazes or something and nobody of the enemy Berserk has 5 stacks of stability, they're getting dazed, they have to get stun break, it takes a second and we can bomb them there for a second. Really cool. If you want to use it, you can use it definitely. For me as a commander, it's a no-go. For me as a commander, since I'm standing in front, I always want to use the Mace. The Mace is giving me way more defensive stats when I go forward. So let's go over the toms really quick. What I see that a lot of people are using the toms as a, let's say, spamming. For them, they don't use weapon skills, they don't use their elite skills or something, they just spam all their toms and then they don't do anything until the toms are up and play with loot stick 1-1-1. Something you should never do. I already spoke with some of the other guardians about it, and some people are really telling me that their guardians are just spamming out. Then they start with 20 stacks of stability at the beginning of a fight, and after 1 second of combat they don't have anything anymore, and then they are running around with swiftness and might. Hey, that's a good job, guardians, I love it. With the F1, the F1 is an offensive version. As a support beginner, I would never use that at the beginning of a fight. The later it gets in the combat, you can use, for example, the Firefield 4 as a cleave damage on enemy Zergs. You can also use the Firefield 2 on a push, then you give weakness and burning, and well, the 1-1-1 is on every skill the same, right? What you can use when you're getting more experience with it, what I'm doing a lot of times, is either you're buffing with the epilogue. So always before I'm engaging, I'm buffing with the epilogue. So people are dealing Ashes of Just, so they are taking, the enemies are taking for every hit from someone in my party, they take additional burning on them. Can be really strong, and since burning is so broken this patch, you should really abuse it. And the pull. Well, it's a 900 range pull. I already told it in the last video. It's just 900 range on the middle. That means on at the edge, it's around 1200 then, and you can really pull forward. If you want to combine it together with immobilizers, mesmer pulls, ref spikes, lockdowns, immobilizers, whatever you have, it's really good if you coordinate that as guardians, that you call for pulls or something, or your commander calls for pulls, then you are going to hit these guys with your F1-3 and before you press 5. Every tom is built the same. So the first skill is a cone in front of you. The second skill is a small area around you. The third skill is a special action. The fourth skill is a big AoE field around you, and the fifth skill is a buff for your party. So if you are opening the F2 now, the first thing that happens is that we are instantly Condi cleansing 3 Condis on our party people or nearest people when we are opening, because we took this over the Virtuos. The F2-1 is just a normal heal for 5 targets in a cone in front of you, like I said. The second skill, Radiant Recovery, got nerfed. Instead of Condition Clear 2, it's Condition Clear 1 now on 5 targets. So we lost 1 Condition Clear on that skill. Pretty sad for me, but okay. The chapter 3, I'm nearly never using it, to be honest. It's giving Vigo, Regeneration, and Swiftness. I'm filling it up normally, but I'm not using it too much. The field 4 is like stationary. You can use it, for example, on pirate shipping, standing under ACs, range pressuring, whatever. Like, you can use it. You need just to keep care. It has 5 pulses. It's not that much of a heal. You can blast it also, that for your regeneration and healing on your party. It's giving swiftness, and it has 5 pulses. So try to position that field somewhere where you also stay inside for at least like 2 or 3 pulses. Because if you have it for 1 pulse, it's not worth it, and it's giving away one of the side of the books. Then you can also just use your chapter 1 and heal the double amount of it. And your epilogue, the Eternal Oasis. A lot of people don't know that it first gives you 20% heal effectiveness on all your skills. It means you're activating it before you use anything else. The second thing it is the condition convert to boons is now on 2. Before it was higher, way higher. So you're converting 2 condis on your party into boons on your party. Something that is really great. You can use it. I would use it all the time, as much as I can. It's sad that it's not 5 anymore or 3, it's 2 now, so you have to take care about what you want to cleanse and convert, but it's helping you to keep the boons up on your party. A really cool skill. Also, when you activate it, the passive of your Virtuos is getting buffed by it, so you're also healing passively around you a lot. Then, let's go into the F3. Opening F3 gives you already stability, gives you protection, and gives you retaliation. Only by opening. Really cool, that is like the engage tome for your squad. When you really want to clash and you want to fight and you want to go in and you want to push or you're getting pushed, that is the tome to go to, guys. On your chapter 1, you're going for stability and swiftness. On your chapter 2, you're going for taunting and retaliation. On the chapter 3, that is the reflection bubble, the special action. On your chapter 4 is resistance and it's a stun break. So it's really good when the people are coming forward or you're pushing or there's an enemy bomb that your people are getting stuck. Use your resistance to get them through. And you have your epilogue for protection, stability, Aegis, and unbroken lines for 200 toughness on everyone to make them tankier on engage. Really good skill. Use it, please. What you can do now is, if you take instead of stalwart speed, I'm still in combat. Super good, Shari. Let's see if I'm getting out of combat somehow. The golem doesn't like me today. Let's see. Normally I should get out of combat by entering here. Yes. Perfect, so let's go back here. So now you see every skill has a blue line with protection. You see that? That means every of my skill is giving protection now. That is something that I said about if you don't take stalwart speed, you can take the protection line. That means every skill of you is giving protection and not only the last one. So something that you can go for. Protection, 33% less damage. The second highest thing you can take after dwarf with 50% reduced damage. I would say take it as long as you don't need the quickness source in your group or your group lacks support. Take this, please, okay? Let's just use it. So that is something about that. Let's go over our blasting stealth. A lot of people don't know it about like Omega Lul blasting in 2020. What are you talking? What are you talking? Blasting stealth is something that got very common. A lot of people are using it. Scrappers are everywhere in every squad. That means also in public zergs you can stealth blast. Means what does it mean? It means that there is an area field around you that you can put a blast on it, like for example your stuff too. That is giving 3 seconds of stealth for your group. So basically one field can get blasted by by 5 people. The scrapper is 1, so 4 more. Means you can get per party a maximum of 15 seconds in stealth. Means that you need to blast it 3 times. You need to blast 3 seconds 5 times for it. As a guardian, you can blast 3 times if you're good. You can also use the build templates I got as an information. You're having several weapons that you can take in the inventory or your build template to blast with. You have the mighty blow from your hammer that you can take with you before you get into combat. Then you have the stuff too for holy strike, right? And you have your shield of wrath for combo finisher. So you can blast 3 times. In my opinion, you just need to blast 2 times, because normally you have a Revenant in your group that is already blasting 2 or 3 times, and then you have it already. Some of our parties also just need to blast 1 times, depending. So ask your commander, when you have a lot of scrappers and you want to stealth, who is blasting, that all the people are getting the same amount, since it is capped to a maximum of people. So it's just as, like, 5 people can blast it, but it doesn't matter how many times they blast it. But if you fuck that up, the stealth is getting completely out of control, then some pucks or some people that are not stealth running with the Zerg, you're getting revealed and you're getting bombed to Uganda. Something you should never go for, something that the commander look for, so look around that this is really, it is important to work, otherwise it's not going good for your Zerg. What you can also do is, as a guardian on your own, as like little weapons, little weapon combinations, you can drop your symbol down, your swiftness symbol, and blast it with your stuff. Blasting it with your stuff gives area Condi cleanse on your people. Means you don't need to use your mantra, you don't need to use your F2, and you don't need to use anything else to already Condi cleanse people alone with your weapon skills. You can also weapon swap, use the symbol 2 of your mace, weapon swap back to the stuff when you have it, and area Condi cleanse again. So that you look before you swap, that you drop this lightning fields, that you Condi cleanse on the way, since the Condi cleanse is so important. What I found out, and it's very important, as long as you range pressure and you have the time. What I'm doing a lot of times when we are, let's say we are range bombing, and we're stacking shortly before we push, I'm dropping my symbol, I'm dropping my stuff too, and I'm empowering, alone with the Holy Strike with 700 healing, with 300 healing, sorry, on 5 people, plus the Empower with 700 healing and Final Pulse with 2000 healing at the end, means you can heal your Zerg completely up without using any proper and big skills. It's very important as a guardian to use your weapon skills without using too many cooldowns for no reason. Burning all the cooldowns for garbage means that your party is standing without any support and without you. That means your party cannot perform as good as they want, since you are not helping them too much. So keep that up, that your party can do that kind of stuff. What I'm also doing, like my first engage, let's just go up here really quick that we have some space. When I'm commanding, for example, I'm already saying, I tell always stack symbols down in power, symbols down in power, symbols down in power. Then normally I go forward, we are dropping stealth, then we are blasting the stealth with our symbol 2. I'm switching to my shield 4. I'm going to shield 4 while we are running forward. I'm going for my F1, F1-5, F1-3, pulling in front. Normally we are disengaging at that moment. Then I'm going back, I have my symbol of faith, and I have my protector strike to block people. I can go back towards my stuff, already drop my symbols again, and for example, we are engaging now, or the enemies are engaging. At that point, you have your stand your ground. Stand your ground got nerfed from 10 targets to 5 targets. It's still the biggest step you can give out as a Firebrand. Well, if you talk about Soul Beasts can give out way more step than Firebrand currently. That's a bit of a joke with their stances and their elites, but whatever. You have a break stun. That is just a break stun for you and not for your party. Means you can stun break yourself, but you cannot stun break your party. What I'm doing most of the time when I go F1, means I go F1, that means I have no healings and no stab with that source. Means I'm going for stand your ground, and I'm using, for example, my cleanse mantra at that term. So I have a stab source, I have a Condi cleanse and little healing source while I'm being in a damage skill. Means for yourself that you can in that term support your Zerg while you're being offensive. When I go into F2, I have my healing skill also for Aegis. I have my stand your ground for stability, same as hallowed ground, and elite mantra for stun breaks. So I'm covering healing over my F2 and I'm covering the boons over my utilities. If I go F3, I have all stabilities and everything in terms of boons, so I need my mantra of healing and I need my mantra of lore to Condi cleanse and heal while I'm being in a completely in all the boons, because I don't want to waste the pages. And I can take Purging Flames instead of Hallowed Ground, and then I'm getting Condi cleanse. Another thing is, if you're being in a Tome and you don't, like, for example, you don't know what to do with the pages, but you need to go to a different page, instead of just closing your Tome, really, just use the pages 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then it's done. The same thing for your pages is that is like a simple rotation. On engage, what I'm doing normally, it's just like Firebrand, you have to see it like this, is always party reliant. You have to completely decide what you want to do. What needs my party? Needs my party offensive boons, swiftness, boons in general, healing, Condi cleanse, stun break, a bit of love, some hugs maybe, or some other stuff, depending whatever you want to do with your Firebrand. You have to see what your party needs, and for that, one thing that I can show you, you press on party here on the top left, you go for view as grid, you put it out, and then you see your party view. As you see now, I can see my own boons here on the side now. So I'm dropping here my boons. I have now my boons here. So you see boons and you see Condi cleanses and you see the health bar of people. Means you can decide to support your party way better like this instead of having the normal squad view. Like the normal squad view, you don't really need at the end. You can let it as a damage dealer. You can let it as someone who's sorting the squad, but as a Firebrand, you definitely need to look at your squad like this. So now I can see everyone that needs problems. So let's say I have Anna and Albert in my party, and I see now they need boons. Oh my god, they are in front here. I will give them step now that they're getting, and I will heal, cleanse, and stun break mantra to get them out towards my Zerg, for example, in that term. So I stun break them out of the enemy bomb in front. I will also implement later into the video then some in-game moments where I'm stun breaking people or something, that you guys will get better known to that. On a really hard engage, like for example we are clashing inside of that area, something that could be really interesting and that is something you should go for is hellowed ground. You just drop the hellowed ground on a position, so the Zerg is engaging, the commander is dodging for a dodge through and the engage. At that moment you're turning around and you're stun breaking with the elite mantra, regenerating, and you're giving Aegis with the other mantra while you're walking with the Zerg, turning around again, running with the Zerg. At that moment, you will help the complete squad by getting through this area. The same you can also do while you're engaging. You're giving 200 toughness with your epilogue. You're going forward with F3-1, then resistance, dodge through, turn around, step mantra, heal mantra, cleanse mantra, stun break mantra, dodging off. So everyone in the back is getting through, because what is happening normally that the front line is getting through, and at that moment the front line is through, enemy players are recognizing they're pushing, and all the damage goes down in that seconds, and it means normally the people that are being in the mid until the end are getting caught by that. So you need to be sure to get those people through, please. So my standard rotation for engaging, also what I told a lot of people already that are being happy, and a lot of people also tell that it is helpful. So it's a very individual start from my side. You go empower. Then we go forward, guards F1, we go stand your ground, we go F1-5, F1-3. So we have boons, we have everything. So people are getting caught here, so I stun break them really quick, I dodge off. The dodge off on Firebrand, as you see, let me just look really quick where it is. It is somewhere, wait a second. Where is it? The dodge of a Firebrand is healing. Where is it, my friend? Where is it? Here, selfish daring. The end of your dodge roll heals nearby allies. So the dodge roll of a Firebrand, if you don't need it, is also healing your allies at that moment. It's also something that is pretty good. So after the F1 and going forward with stand your ground, you don't have it anymore. You go. The commander calls for push, or you're getting push, you go for F3, F3-5, and then you look what is happening. Do you need resistance? Do you need reflect? Do you need your stability for people? Do you need a stun break? Do you need a regeneration? And do you need heals? So we are pushing now forward. What I'm doing is step up, I'm going for my F3-5, I'm giving one more step for people in front that they are getting not caught, dropping my resistance, dodging through, stabbing people, using my mantras really quick, dodging off one time, regroup with the Zerg, using my F3-1 really quick, and then I use instantly my weapon skills, empowering, for example, and dropping my F3, F2, going towards my symbol again, and then all my weapon skills are being used. I can also use my shield 4, hold it on cooldown, my protector strike, and at the moment after they engage, normally the Condis are being high, so you switch to Condi, F2-5 activated to have 20% more healing effectiveness, and also drop your heal field and your Condi cleanses depending on what your party needs. I cannot 100% explain you say do this, and do this rotation and you're winning the fight for your party. Something that I cannot give you, sorry guys. I can just give you the point that you need to do what your party needs, and that means you need always to look for a step source, a Condi cleanse source, a healing source, a stun break source, and a CC source for your party as a Firebrand. What I'm doing as a Firebrand as last point now is I'm going over to the playing options. I'm going to here, thick party health bars, and I'm doing thick squad health bars, and I'm going to always show party health and squad health bars. You don't need to thick squad health bars. You don't really need at the end because you want to support your party. As a commander, I needed to look at my Zerg better. Like I can see it way better on that term. So if you have the thick and always showing, you can support your people way better and just seeing it in front of you instead of looking on the left corner all the time. So please activate at least the thick bars for your party and always show the health bar of the squad, so that you see always if your Zerg really has problems. Then we have at last point the Firebrand on Condi and Dragonhunter. So at the moment there is a current meta, let's say like this. Firebrands love to run Condi. You can run Condi in terms of different gear, also Trailblazer for example. As Condi Firebrand, if you support it with a Scrapper or with a Tempest or a support warrior, you can go for that. It's dealing a lot of damage at the moment. Burning is too strong right now. You can still boon your people with the burning Firebrand. It is possible, we tested it out, but you are lacking some other sources of party support in that term. So you need to look if your party has the support, but it is viable to play. Dragonhunter, people don't want to see Dragonhunter at the moment. Hybrid and Condi builds of Dragonhunters are way too strong at the moment, so maybe give them some chances. If you guys are interested, I have a very individual Dragonhunter build. I have it here. If you guys want to maybe see it later, it's a very individual build with a lot of different stats. You can also whisper me about it and I will give it towards you. And then as last point, I have how to get the Minstrel gear. There are several sources how to get the Minstrel gear. Ether, PvP, Fractals, or World vs World. You can get rings and gear that you can choose stats from. Also, Living Story 3 and 4 is giving you accessories, ring, backpack and all that kind of stuff that you can choose the stats completely from, so you can get that kind of stuff easy. In World vs World you can run the reward track for exotic armor, means you can get 6 pieces of exotic armor with whatever stats you want, and the stats are not like they are just a small amount worse than the normal stats. So at the beginning it's a good point to start with. You can also craft it, what is very expensive, or you can change the stats from some other ascended gear over exotic runes or sigils towards that stats. But it's very expensive, like I said, so you should look what you do for, but you just need to do it one time. The last point that you can get it from is crafting it over World vs World 2, but it's also a bit of a longer way and you need the Grandmaster tokens and blah blah blah, so it also takes a while. What I recommend then is you can go to the TP, for example, if you don't have the Minstrel gear at the moment. You go to Armor or something, then you give in Diviner stats. For example, not Diviner stats, sorry, wait a second. It's not Diviner. Diviner is Power gear. You give in Toughness, you give in not Vitality, you give in Healing Power and Concentration. So you're missing the Vitality at the beginning. Then you go for exotic. Let's put the price up really quick, and then you have them here, settler stats. Toughness, healing power, and Condi damage you can take. You can also take the power, toughness, or healing power, or you're taking the giver stats that are being the most expensive. You're going for toughness, healing, and concentration. The stats are a bit lower, as you see. Let's just go to my Firebrand gear really quick. Here we go, here we go. So my Firebrand gear at the moment has less toughness, a bit vitality, more healing, and less concentration. So basically you have a bit more toughness and a bit more concentration, but you're losing the vitality and you're losing a bit of healing. But it is a point where you can start from if you really want to play Firebrand. So that is something you really need to look for. If you want to play Firebrand, the giver stats or something, or also the cleric, or also some other, like for example power, toughness, healing power is also okay. So there are several things you can do, but at the end you don't need damage on your Firebrand at all. Okay, well that was my complete updated guide to Firebrand. I hope that you guys enjoyed it so far. I will cut it later then a bit deeper, maybe when I see through the program that I got from some people. I hope that people enjoyed it, also in stream right now, because I wanted to have it as a highlight, and I hope that there is not too many open questions. If there is open questions, you can always come towards me. I love to explain stuff. I really love my Firebrand, and I'm happy if you guys would stay a bit in stream that are coming from Mukluk's stream, since I love the community a lot, and welcome.